Hello my friends and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master SP Deck Challenge Deck Overviews Part 18. That is right, I'm finally back to the regularly scheduled programming. Finally got done with all the special stuff, at least for now, so that's good. And of course there's going to be new special stuff added in the future. But before I begin, I'm going to go into the news, but before I go into the news, I'm going to say my quick intro, which is please like, share, and subscribe, and consider ringing that notification bell. You can ring the bell and select all if you don't mind all of my master content, which is pretty much what I'm putting out in the meantime. And you can always switch it later on if I move on to other games that you may not be as interested in. But I mean, probably for a while that's how it's going to be. And then you can also select the bell and select personalize if maybe there's only a small amount of Master Duel you want to see, or in the future if I play new games and you don't like them as much. Now you can be notified of the videos that you like the most by selecting the bell and selecting personalize. And you can also select the bell and select none if you're only supporting me to give me a new subscriber, which is cool in and of itself. And if you're one of the people who do watch me and like my content, and maybe you have a friend that's not interested in any of this stuff, but they still have a YouTube account, maybe like say, hey, you're my friend, you should subscribe to this guy because I like him. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. I probably tell my friends to do that sometimes. I'm not sure how often because like I don't really do stuff like that, but like if I was, I probably would definitely say that. And I think I have said it a few times, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get into the solo mode. Oh yeah, and another thing I want to say is that like I have a public deck on Moxfield for anyone who cares about Magic the Gathering stuff, specifically Commander format. I have like a Thalia and the Gitrog deck, so maybe if you want to like give me some advice, or you need some sort of deck inspiration for that deck, or you just don't know where to start, maybe you could like look at my deck and either give me advice or get inspiration. And if you need and it should be pretty easy to look it up just by saying Thalia Frogs, but if you can't find it, you can always let me know in the comments and I can give you the link. Okay, so yeah. First of all, new gates, but I don't really care about that. But Ally of Justice for anyone who likes it. Maybe you can even play Worms too, because Ally of Justice and Worms kind of have a anti-relationship. Anyway, upcoming Forbidden Limitless. Oh yeah, I guess this is sort of new. But there's only two. It's Branded Expulsion and Silva. Branded Expulsion makes a lot of sense because with Branded Expulsion, you could like just special summon a whole bunch of things from your opponent's or is it from your graveyard and special summon to your opponent's graveyard. It's really easy to set up. And the thing about it is if you give them like some kind of like card that like disallows like special summoning, that can be really oppressive. And also Silva, I guess it's just a little bit of a hand loop there, where like I think he has a way to get rid of cards from their opponent's hand, so they kind of don't want that happening as often. I don't think it like, I'm not sure if it had a hard once per turn on or not, but they still want to like forbidden. Wow, they still want to ban it just because I guess they really don't want to see cards that have like ways of getting rid of cards in the opponent's hand. I'm not sure if it had a hard once per turn or not, but I guess it doesn't matter either way because now it's banned. If they limit it, that might have like solved a lot of problems too, but yeah, they decided to ban it, so. And then this one, you don't get any rewards, so you can take it or not. It's not a big deal. And then I think I'm not sure how like when they put in Master, but I saw the icon. It's like a lion's face. I don't know if it's like my favorite design. It kind of doesn't seem like it fits Yu-Gi-Oh! But I guess like with like the wolf aesthetic and then suddenly becomes a lion. I can see that. But still, wolves and lions are two. I mean, I guess they're not all wolves. I guess it's like bears. So it still fits the animal theme. I don't know. It just seems really cartoonish if you ask me. That's what it looks like. I don't know. Maybe like other people can give me ideas. Maybe because it's front facing while all of the others are side facing. So it kind of makes it seem a little weird. I don't know. Maybe other people can let me know what they think of it. Not that I'm probably ever gonna get to that ranking anyway, so it's kind of a mute point, nor do I care about getting to that ranking. Yeah, but let's get into the solo mode now. Oh wait, but first I want to show off the Duel Pass here. I'll go into a shop to like talk a little bit about it. Here it is. Yeah, still have 7 days left to purchase it. It really doesn't matter when you purchase it, because even the ones that what I pass, you can still obtain. I like to purchase it right away because I know I'm gonna get to the end. But if you're unsure for whatever reason, you can always just wait until the very end to purchase it. Just make sure you do purchase it before it expires, or else you won't be able to purchase it if you do want to purchase it. You know what I'm saying? Cypher Gear Gamma Mate. I think that's probably one of the better mates, but I think I'm still going to stick to my totally awesome mate. They're not going to get me to change it. I don't care how many cool mates they put out. Unless maybe it's another frog, but I don't know. Even if it was another frog, I mean, totally awesome is basically the face of the frog, so how could they make it any better than totally awesome? Maybe if they made a different design totally awesome, that'd be cool. But I don't think they're gonna do that because they don't really do that. Oh yeah, and here's the little art you can do. I don't think they have art for totally awesome yet, so that'd be cool if they could eventually get that. Anyway, here's some of the other rewards that you get for getting the Duel Pass Gold. I think these are the exclusive ones you can only get from Gold, and these are like the total rewards you get. Whether or not you're paying for the gold. So you also get, oh wait, there's mate. Oh. Yeah, this is mixing in the ones you can, that are exclusive to gold with the ones that are like from the normal. Or no, I think what it is like they're like showing you like how, like what you get level by level from the gold, and then this is the total. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what they were doing here. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Oh yeah, and there's the description: an emperor of the future who carries with him memories of hope. When unleashed, he shall take us to a new future and the beginning of a new heaven and earth. And then the mate reads: one of the autonomous amplifiers operated by a psychic soldier. It looks liable to unleash its electric superpowers and shut down the opponent. And of course, like, that's kind of fitting because it kind of shuts down one of their plays in a pretty big way, since it both negates the effects and then destroys the monster. And if it's during your turn, maybe you can even go for the Brone play with the level 8 guy, which I've never been able to pull off, so it's not easy, but if you can get there, it feels so good. And I still want to get there sometime. And you know I'm gonna record, and you know I'm gonna like save the replay if I ever do pull it off. Anyway, let's do this solo mode. Yeah, of course, new gates. I don't care about that because I need to finish off the overviews here. But I am getting kind of close to being done. I believe I'm on the second one? Yeah, I'm on the second one. How many more do I have? I have the ones that I did last time, so all I need to do is find them. And then it's the next one up from that. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so it's the next one from this. So this is what I'm starting on. And once again, as always, I'm doing 2. I have plenty of time. I also have another timer going, so that's good. So now I kind of know how much time is on the clock. I have it set for a different reason, but it's helpful that I can also pay attention to it for this. But anyway, let's go into this. Of course, you can always feel free to pause and read the description, or you can just maybe, yeah, like maybe I gave you enough time right there to read it. But either way, I already read it, so I'm not gonna read it again. And then the deck name is Ultimate Hero Tag Team, and the deck description reads: a deck that focuses on elemental hero monsters, but also includes Destiny Hero cards. So that's why it's called Tag Team. That can support all hero monsters. In addition to fusion monsters, it also uses Destiny Hero Plasma as an ace card. It can play an active role by blocking monsters' effects on the opponent's field and turning them into equip cards. Yeah, Destiny Hero Plasma basically steals opponents' monsters, but just like the Relinquish cards, it can only have one monster equipped at a time. Yeah, it's kind of hard to remove it because you can't just because it's not one of those where you can remove it in order to prevent destruction. So if you really want to equip another one, you're gonna have to find an outside way to destroy the one that it already has equipped. Maybe like Mystical Space Typhoon, something like that. But then it does gain attack equal to half the original attack of the monster. But if you decide to equip a face down, it doesn't gain anything, because then the stats would be basically unknown. It does have a walking skill drain effect, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Anyway, Avian, Burstinatrix, and Sparkman seems to be a common theme to have these 3. And then Neos. That seems to be a common theme at this point as well. Don't really have effects, but they're useful for other reasons. Winkribo. Once again, this is fitting because it was Jaden's ace monster, and this is kind of more of a Jaden deck since it still includes elemental heroes, though it is now combined the Destiny heroes. I'm not sure if he ever did play with Destiny heroes, but either way, Winkribo still fitting because it was used a lot back in the GX times, and this is more of a GX inspired deck. And it can save you if but you do basically have to set it, or you can special summon off of the Flu Summoning Kuribo. Just put it in defense, because otherwise you'll still take damage from it being attacked. Destiny Disc Commander allows you to draw 2 cards. It has a little bit of a harder way to draw 2 cards, but I still like it because it still nets you 2 cards eventually. So I think this card is kind of underrated. I think it still can be pretty good as long as you're willing to be patient, especially in the lower power metas. But even maybe in a little bit more of a higher power meta, and as long as you this isn't your main strategy, I think it's still fine to just play one of this, and then maybe you could Foolish Burial to the graveyard so you can draw 2 cards. But maybe don't let it be the first choice. But if you do happen to get into the graveyard somehow, hey, maybe you can draw 2 cards later on, if you can find a way to special summon it. And there are built-in ways of special summoning this stuff. So Aqua Dolphin can just hit cards from the opponent's hand, so this could be a good way to get rid of hand traps, since all you really need is a monster with... I mean, you really just need any monster to get rid of most of the hand traps since a lot of them has 0 attack, so it's still really nice for hitting hand traps. A hummingbird. Gaining 5 in life points for each card in your opponent's hand. I mean, not really as useful in effect, but it can be helpful for giving you a little bit of extra survivability. But yeah, it's not really one of those that really see a lot of play, unless you really need the fusion associated with it. Grand mode, this is kind of nice still. Just returning monsters to the hand, and if it's next to deck monster, returns into the X deck. But I think most of the time, if you're going for an effect like this, like you have other options like Akashik, or even like wind up. I think it's wind up cat. Now that's like really cheap in the TCG. And I believe it's like only a rare here, so I mean you definitely have other options that may even just be better, since those you don't need to like commit an attack in order to get the bounce. And if you can like put them down like maybe fairly early, especially with the wind up cat, like you could potentially get a bounce either to get rid of the problematic monster or to bait out its effect. Either way, it kind of like you kind of accomplished something. Neospatian Glow Moss. Yeah, it just has different effects. But it lets your opponent draw a card, so it's not really that great. Like, even if it has some decent effects depending on what they draw, like, just letting your opponent draw a card is still kind of a bad effect. But I think its fusion monsters are a little bit better. One of them at least lets you draw cards for yourself instead, which is like definitely much better. Neospatian Dark Panther allows you to basically get an opponent's effect for yourself, but they still get the effect. It's kind of cool to, like, if you want to like try out different effects that your opponent has. Especially in this game where maybe you don't want to craft all the URs or SRs, but maybe you want to like try out an effect for yourself. Like this could be a way, like maybe you could do that. Maybe you could even set up like a friendly duel where like it's not about just playing a duel, but maybe it's more about just utilizing copy effects that lets you like try out like a few effects that you're not sure about. I don't know how good that would be, but like I mean I think it could be fun. Neospatian Flare Scarab lets you yeah, this could gain a bunch of attack. That's really all there is to say about it. Elemental Stratos. This is definitely one of the best because it has 2 modes, and neither one is a hard once per turn. So it has back row destruction if you need it. It has searching if you need it. Most of the time you're going for the searching, but sometimes the back row removal can be really good. Like especially choosing that one first if they have a lot of back row, and then maybe if you can like bring it out again, getting the search after that, so it's less likely to be impeded. Or no, like your future plays are less likely to be impeded. Neospace Pathfinder allows you to grab a Neospace, which is useful for not having your fusions that say the sent back to X deck to be sent back to X deck. Also giving your Neos or Neos alias that's treated as Neos some extra attack, which is just a bonus. Prisma, if you don't have the right material, you can always change your name, so now you do. Also useful for setting up your graveyard for a miracle fusion by putting another monster into a graveyard. Blazeman, useful for grabbing polymerization, useful for fusion. Well, no, it also like helps set up your graveyard as well, though not as good as Prisma, but it does still help set up your graveyard. while also giving this guy a little bit extra attack and defense. But most of the time, taking on the name is much better than just getting a little bit of stats, because most of the time you're looking for that fusion summon. Solid Soldier. This allows you to special summon another heal monster from the hand, which a lot of the times I don't know if it's really that useful, because most of the time, like, you're really only going for the fusion summons anyway. It's like graveyard effect is pretty useful though, allowing you to special summon heroes from your graveyard. And it doesn't negate the effect, so you can just special summon Stratos and like get the search again. Neospace Connector, or like if you need to clear back row for like your fusions. Neospace Connector allows you, yeah, this is really good. It allows you like to like special summon a Neospatian or an Elemental Neos, either if you need like a Neospatian effect, or if you need to get a missing piece for a fusion summon. Draw hand. Unfortunately, you can't get Neospace Pathfinder with it, but it's only useful when it's in the hand though, so I'm not sure how much you would need to grab that card anyway. Draw hand is pretty useful if you can special summon it. Just both players draw a card that can be special summoned from anywhere, so it's pretty decent. And then Solid Liquid Soldier has a pretty useful effect when it's used for fusion summons. You get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. Of course, drawing is pretty nice. And this one actually has a pretty useful effect on normal summon. It basically stole the Solid Soldier's effect when it's sent with a fusion spell. So it has like 2 useful effects. So that's pretty nice. Necro Shade. Of course, like, this is one of the things you can get to the graveyard if you really want its effect. And you do have a few extra. Oh, now that you have, does this also send? It has to send an Elemental, so that kind of stinks. You can't send the Dasher, but you might be able to send the Dasher off of Prisma, which makes it a little bit better in that way as well. Because this actually has this is a pretty useful grave effect by allowing you to like special summon a monster that you draw, but it has to be during your draw phase. Though it doesn't say that it has to be the card you draw for your draw phase. So if you have like an effect that allows you to draw cards in a draw phase, like if one of those monsters happen to be if one of the cards you draw there happen to be a monster, you can like also special summon one of those. So that's kind of cool. And it's on field effect. I mean, it's kind of useful giving something a little bit extra attack, but like definitely where it shines is grave effect. And if it only happens once, though. Yeah. I'm not. But maybe if you like bring it out of the graveyard and then put it back in, you might be able to get its graveyard effect again, because it kind of forgot it was in the graveyard. Blade Edge. Very useful summon off of Necro Shade, but also useful for helping and bring out some of the fusions. And then Plasma is pretty nice. Skill Drain. And it only affects monsters your opponents control. So it's a little bit better than Skill Drain, because you don't have to worry about your own monster's effects being negated. It's fairly easy to summon. I mean, like, all you need to have is 3 monsters, which might seem difficult, but I think it's fairly easy to do in a deck like this. And then like you get to steal a monster, equip it to this. But yeah, it has like some useful abilities. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a way to protect itself, so it's fairly easy to destroy it, especially if you don't take like a really strong monster and equip it to it. Polymerization, fusion summoning. Do I really need to say more? Monster Reborn, useful for special summoning out stuff. Or an impressive threat your opponent has in the grave. Miracle Fusion. Yeah, again, fusion summoning. Also useful for all of the monsters that are getting sent to the graveyard. Neos Fusion, useful for both helping to fill up your graveyard while also bring out a fusion monster. And it ignores summoning conditions too, so that's pretty nice. It even protects specific fusions. Neo Space, yeah, again, like I talked about why that's useful. Flute, useful for summoning the winged when you're in trouble and maybe get an extra turn. And that extra turn can be in a lot, maybe if you can like make a comeback. Generation Next. It's another way to special summon Winged Karibo if you're really desperate. But most of the time you're special summoning your either heroes or Neospatian. And one really good hero to special summon is the Stratos. It doesn't special summon all your heroes, but it special summons the Stratos, which can get you any hero. So it kind of achieves the same thing. Hero Signal, another way to special summon Stratos mostly. Hero Barrier, another survivability tool. Hero Spear, another one. Next, can special summon a bunch of monsters from the grave. Unfortunately, they have to be Neospatial elements, but if you filled your grave up with a lot of them, this could be a way to like fill up your board so you don't die. Or like if you want to get in for extra damage. Though, I mean, and the special summon restriction doesn't even matter. D Tactics. Yeah, give your heroes extra attack. Yeah, and also it banishes whenever you summon one of your level 8s, which I think you should have a few of. And then if it happens with your storage, you get to search for a Destiny hero. So, like, useful effects. And the extra attack can, like, help you get game a little bit quicker. Or, like, make it so that your monsters are more likely to survive. The extra damage infliction. Canopy destroy. But, like, this is, I think, most of the time the one you want to go for. Although, like, maybe if you need, like, this to, like, survive more battles, you go for him instead. I don't know. Maybe this one is the better one. Now that I think about it. Dark Bright. Yeah, it just has, like, piercing. And it's not so bad if it gets changed to defense, because if they take the bait to destroy, you get to like destroy one of their monsters. So this could be a 2-for-1 if you like destroy one by battle and destroy one with the effect. Dark Neos. Yeah, that's one of the Neos ones. Instead of like copying an effect though, it straight up negates it, which isn't as fun, but it's probably honestly a better effect. Maybe, I don't know, copying an effect can be pretty fun too. Aqua Neos. This is, I don't know, like it just feels like some of the fusions off of the Neos like are kind of downgrades. Like this one, sure, like can destroy any card, but it just destroys a random card. This one's actually pretty useful since this, instead of like only your opponent trolls, this one gains off of every spell and trap. Glow Neos, yeah, this one's pretty nice since it, I mean, the destroying is probably a lot better. Sure you don't, and you don't make your opponent draw, so that's good. Grand Neos. Yeah, this one is probably honestly a lot better than the Grand Mole, because it's a little bit hard to bring out, but you can at least return a monster to hand without needing to be in battle phase. Brave Neos is probably one of the best Neos targets off of the Neos fusion. Like, because you can send a bunch of stuff and it gains it can get up to quite a few attack points. It doesn't have that shuffle back effect, and it allows you to just add another either Neos Fusion, or if you happen to have another Neos card. Actually, it allows you to, I think, it allows you to add the Neo space too. So this can be a way to like another searcher for the field spell, so that maybe you can like bring out the others later on. So maybe the first one you go into. Sunrise. And I kind of like talk about this a lot, but I'll talk about it again. For those who may have not been paying attention or just weren't like watching my other videos or like need a reminder. Yeah, you get to, it's a searcher for a Miracle Fusion, and it also destroys stuff. Like, that's basically the gist of it. And like, your monsters can get up to pretty high attack too, so it does also that. And Shining Flare Wingman, this can get up to pretty high attack, and also has that damage infliction. Yeah, see, in the case of the Flare Wingman versus Shining Phoenix Enforcer, like this one may seem a lot better since this one has the effect of not being destroyed by battle, but like honestly, you're probably gaining a lot of attack anyway, so maybe like most of the time, this one is probably the better one. Maybe for the lower ones, maybe you could make an argument, but I think here, like, this one is definitely gonna be the bad one, since this one has the infliction effect and this one doesn't. Like, they're probably getting enough attack to where the whole can't be sort of about, doesn't matter. And then this one, extra destruction, and then core allows you to cheat up out a level 8 or lower. Also, extra attack can beat up out a lot of monsters with doubling its current attack. And it's current attack, so if it gains extra attack, that just makes for a bigger doubling. And it can still get him for damage too, so that's pretty cool. Oh wait, it's only when it's targeted, so it's probably never gonna be targeted unless they have a high enough attack monster. So yeah, like, I just kind of think that's only when it's targeted, because they're probably never gonna target it. Why would they target it? Anyway, Duel of Destiny. The deck description reads: a deck based around Arcana Force monsters. Use Light Barrier, etc. to create a situation where the intended Arcana Force monster effect can be triggered. While it's difficult to achieve, playing a high-level monster like Arcana Force EX, the Dark Ruler, can pave the way to victory. So, the first of the cards are Arcana Force Zero the Fool. And this is a pretty cool card that people at least like playing back in the day, because like you could get around its downside by just setting it and still has the can't be destroyed by battle effect. Yeah, if it is summoned, may make it a little bit easier to destroy. But I still don't think it's like that big of a deal. The only thing about it is if you do summon an attack, then you're just like putting a 0 attack body on the field that now your opponent can just inflict a bunch of damage to you for. If you're just normal summoning it. Arcana Force 1, the Magician. Doubling its attack, or your opponent gaining 5 in life points. Which can get really scary, but at least it's not like an incredibly like devastating downside if you happen to miss. Arcana Force 3, the Empress. It allows you to either special summon an Arcana Force monster. Or each time your opponent normal summons a set of monster, you send a card from your hand to a graveyard. which maybe isn't too big of a deal if you just have a bunch of graveyard effects or if you just empty your hand. So maybe you can make this so even if you whiff, it's not too big of a deal. And then you just like tribute off like when you do actually start accumulating cards again. And then Arcana Force for the Emperor. Also, I guess it's not always the case where like their numbers match their letters. Arcana Force for the Emperor. Either all your well, basically all the monsters here would either lose attack or gain attack. Yeah. Arcana Force 6, the Lovers. Maybe it's not too big of a deal either way if you can like find other ways of getting it off the field. If you happen to get the Tails effect, but if you get the Heads effect, the Tribute 2 tributes can be kind of cool. And then Arcana Force 7, the Chariot. You either give the control of this card to your opponent, or you get to basically take control of monsters that you destroy with this card. Yeah, but at least if your opponent gains control of this, it won't be flipping again, since it's not like resummoning to the opponent's field, but simply changing control. So at least like it would be basically a 1700 attack that they would have and nothing else. Arcana Force 14. This is kind of cool. It allows you to survive. It also has, I mean, it's some effects on neither here nor there, like having all battle damage you take or your opponent takes. I mean, if you're in a pinch, maybe you can like summon it. But I think most of the time, this is probably going to be used to reduce a battle damage to 0. And then Arcana Force, what is this? 20 or 18? Arcana Force 18, the Moon. So either you are creating a token that has 0 attack and 0 defense. And it gives you another like tributor. It's not even a tuner though, so it's not like you would be able to use it for a sync summon if you use this and it. And then or you just give control of one of your monsters to your opponent, which maybe you could just give them control of the full, but I mean, I guess that's not like so bad. But you could also give control of one of your monsters that got its downside effect, so maybe that makes it a little bit better. And then the next one is Arcana Force 21, the World. So either you get to skip your opponent's next turn by tributing off 2 monsters, well, not tribute, but what is sending, or you get to add the top card of their graveyard to their hand. But I think this is kind of the one that's like worth kind of gambling on, because if you can skip their next turn, that can be pretty big. Especially if you have a deck that can take advantage of that. I do remember that there are decks that take advantage of the Heads effect. And then Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler. Instead of having to be, well, it actually has a special summon effect, so that's pretty useful. You do have to send 3 monsters, but the fact that it being special summon is pretty nice. So if it's Heads, you get to add a card, recur cards from your graveyard whenever it destroys something, or which it probably will be able to be destroying a lot of things since that's so big stats. Or it basically has a mandatory negate on it, but only when it's like targeted. So it has like two fairly useful effects. So I think the heads effect might still be sort of better. But I guess like the negation effect is kind of nice too. But the fact that it has to be like that, you have to negate it. And it's like also don't try activating cards that's going to target this either, because your own cards will be negated also. Arcana Force EX can also be spell summoned, basically by the same way as the Light Ruler. This is the Dark Ruler though. If it when it's spell summoned, if it's heads, you get to make 2 attacks. And going to defense doesn't really matter too much, though it does kind of stink that like stalls out for quite a while. But at least your opponent will still have a tough time destroying it by also having a big defense stat as well. And then Tails, when it's destroyed, you just destroy all cards on the field, which could be either good or bad depending. And of course terraforming is banned, but it's still out here because this is already how the deck was before terraforming got banned. And then simply lets you add the field spell, and then field spell is pretty nice because now you just get to choose which effect you're going for, on top of having a bit of like life point gain, which is always nice. But of course, if you do get Tails on this one itself, you won't even be able to use any of its effects. And then Cup of Ace can be extra draw, but it can also be extra draw for the opponent. And it's not an Arcana Force card, so you won't be able to like change the outcome with the Light Barrier. Arcana Reading. This unfortunately doesn't count towards the Light Barrier since it's only went for monsters that are being summoned, and this is a spell. So it is pretty risky though. Like if you get Tails, the opponent gets to add any card. It's not as risky with like loner decks like this, but if I was to play one of my own decks against this deck, then it becomes a lot riskier. Like so, like definitely if you're playing more casually, maybe it doesn't matter as much depending on the decks. But even for casual gameplay, like the Tails is a really big drawback. Yeah. And then heads, they just add, and then but if you do get heads, you get to add something yourself, which if you build your deck correctly, that's probably gonna be a lot of good cards. But the drawback is just so severe. Like maybe just like play like other cards instead. There's plenty of other cards that like help you get extra draw, help you search your deck a little bit, maybe like not necessarily searching for a specific card. But I think Pod Prosperity like may just be better. If you, yeah. Reversal of Fate. This is another way to maybe turn in a drawback into a positive, though it's only usable once rather than this being usable multiple times. But at least it doesn't come with the drawback of like maybe being negated by its own effect. So there's that. It's it can basically act as a backup to Light Barrier. Arcana Call. For the same coin toss result. Oh, so I guess this is like like if you want like a really cool effect, maybe. I think if I'm reading this correctly, I think basically if you like, for example, banished Arcana Force EX, and you got like a heads effect, I think it makes it so that like you can give any of your monsters EX, like the Dark Ruler's effect, by banishing it from the graveyard. I think that's how it works. And then Tour of Doom, either making it so that your opponent can't normal summon a flip, or you can't normal summon a flip. So that's like definitely a pretty big deal. maybe you can make it where that's not such a big deal if you're planning to, like, if you don't really need to normal summon a flip very much. Maybe this could be like a counter to like decks that actually want that, but still, you're still gambling on if your opponent's even gonna be locked out. But it's kind of nice that it's a continuous strat, so you can like maybe pull this off multiple times. So I don't know, but yeah, definitely for a deck like this, where it actually does want to be normal summoning and flipping quite a bit, that could be a pretty big downside. Though maybe if they already have big enough, their big monsters out, maybe it's not so bad. I think that also includes tribute summoning too. I think tribute summoning counts as a normal summon. Though it could be wrong. Anyway, those are the two decks. I think I'm gonna go into some of my other stuff now. Starting with, I want to show off another replay real quick. I just found this one to be fascinating. Just because, like, this one, like, kind of, like, shows off the spirit of the event the most. I really like the deck that the opponent came up with. And, if you're watching this right now, feel free to let me know if you also enjoyed the duel we had, if you remember it. And maybe like let yourself be known so people can say like what they, so others can say what they think of your deck. Maybe being like being able to accept some praise. But yeah, I thought it was a cool deck, at least like playing a lot of like dice related cards, which I felt was in the spirit of things. Even Triad Dice, like, doesn't really have a dice effect, but it's still a dice looking card, so I like what you did there. Also, dice reroll is pretty nice, like getting another chance at getting a favorable result on dice cards. Dice Try, this is actually not a bad card for the event, because like there's probably gonna be like a lot of like dice effects activating, and so this can just straight up negate them. Yeah, but no extra cards adds the extra deck. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe you could like let me know, like were you just not finding any like other extra deck cards that like are about dice or coins, or maybe my opponent just didn't like feel like adding anything else to the extra deck, because I think like you barely go into the extra deck as is. I know I barely went into the extra deck. Anyway. Yeah, this is a little bit of a longer one. You see total number of turns 14. But it was a pretty epic duel because, like, I mean, as you can see, like, this really, like, the duel itself also really showed off, like, what this event should be about, I feel. So it's really nice that the deck that favors the event a lot is also happens to be the opponent I play against that also, like, goes supports the spirit the most, as you'll see. There's a Cup of Ace, of course, going for the draw 2. Dimension Dice, Snipe Hunter. Yeah, see, there's that Dice Try. That was a pretty great move. Good for him. There's the head judging, activating that response, trying to get trying to steal it, but unfortunately heads. But I got the heads right there. It went to 0, so I was able to get rid of it either way. And then of course I'm paying, because why not? There's the dice. Of course I lost, so I took the damage. And then Brandon regained. Snipe Hunter though. Dice reroll. See, and they did try the dice reroll, but it still got a disfavorable result. Either way. Now I'm signing the Brandon. Yeah, but as you can see, like, I get some unlucky draws a few times. Oh man, am I gonna win? I'm gonna try to get the Cup of Ace, but unfortunately this time it didn't work out for me. And it just gives my opponents more cards to discard, so they so choose, which they will. Destroying that. Special summoning the Arcana Force 12, getting the disfavorable result, so now at least I'm taking less damage from their attacks. I mean, and thank goodness it got the disfavorable result, because if it hadn't, I would have died there. But now I got an Arcana Force 14 on my own. I'm hoping to strive off damage if I need to. But I didn't have to this time. So it's also cool that I'm pretty much making, like, I pretty much made use of all of my cards in this duel too. I think my opponent maybe didn't really make use of all their cards, but I definitely did. Or at least most of my cards. See, I got the favorable result for the, I got the gain effect for the Duel Pass of Destiny, so I was able to, like, regain 2,000, which also really helped. But now I'm drawing. See, now I'm starting to be able to get some good stuff with the Magnamite. Negates it. I'll just go for Lubellion. Going for the Beast. So now I can, like... See, I feel like what they should have done was they probably should have just done Snipe Hunter to maybe destroy one of my things, but they went for the Crazy Box instead. And so I just chained to this before they could, like, potentially negate it, which they did get the negate effect. So I'm glad I did that, because they might have just negated my Beast. But then they wouldn't have been able to attack, so it probably would have been in my favor either way. But yeah, now I'm going for, like, the other one, the last one. These are the three I have. Yeah, and also the nice thing about the Beast is if I send the Druid one, this just has to be sent to the graveyard. It doesn't matter if it's for cost or anything. I basically get two sends off of the, or maybe one destruction, one send. So that's pretty cool. I can get rid of 2 cards just by saying the Bestial Druid one. So yeah, that's a pretty cool duel, I think. I could have easily lost if I had gotten, like, unfavorable results in some of those cases. But luckily I was able to get favorable results during the exact moments when I needed it. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if I actually have time for a pack opening. Yeah. We'll see though. But yeah, anyway, that'll be it for the video. In case I don't have time for the pack opening, I'll just say a quick outro. You might hear an outro twice. Like, I hope you're okay with that. I just want to make sure I still get an outro in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And considering the notification. Again, you can ring it for all my videos, the videos like the most, or none of my videos, by selecting the bell and picking all, personalized, or none respectively. And as always, I'll hopefully can get it by the end of the week, where I put in the thank you notes in the description, where I put in the verse as well in the description, and the verse discussion and pinned comment. But as a quick thank you, I'd like to thank everyone who stayed for the for either the replay or the deck overviews or both. Anyway, bye.